Hi, everyone. I'm going to start first by talking about some basics and giving you a really quick history of CIR. How many in the room know what we mean by comprehensive or common sense immigration reform? Okay, so let me tell you what we mean by that. There are basically four legs to this stool. One is continuing to strengthen our borders. So every comprehensive immigration bill has included border security provisions to increase the number of personnel at the border, continue to improve the technology at the border, at the ports of entry, so at airports when you come in from trips abroad, and between the ports of entry to detect individuals who are attempting to come into the country without documentation. So border security. The second part of it is interior enforcement, and that means enforcing the laws in the interior of the U.S. And the centerpiece of the interior enforcement piece of immigration reform has been a mandatory employment verification program. A program that is now a voluntary program, but that would become mandatory under CIR, that would require every employer in the country to verify the documentation of individuals that they hire through an electronic system. And the rationale behind that is that if we put in place such a program, we are turning off the job magnet, and people who work in the U.S. would have to work legally. But to do those kinds of enforcement provisions, you also need to modernize your legal immigration system, which has not been updated since 1990. The laws that we have in the place right now with respect to who can petition for family members, how many family members can come in, or who employers can petition for to give them green cards, and how many we can have per year haven't been changed since 1990. Our economy is very different than it was in 1990. The number of immigrants in this country is very different from 1990. So the waiting times are ridiculous. A permanent resident can be separated from his wife and kids for up to 5 years under the current system. An employer who wants to hire a lower skilled worker to work in home health care at a nursing facility doesn't have the legal way to do that because there are only 5,000 visas available per year for that category. So ridiculous system. So it's increasing the annual quotas, expanding the ways in which individuals can come into the country illegally. And then the last part of it is legalizing the current undocumented population, the 11 or so million that Eric talked about, and putting them on a path to citizenship. A long path, a difficult path, but a path that ultimately leads to citizenship. So we've been working on this, and by we, I mean the collective we, immigrant advocates like these individuals, the government, the executive branch, and the legislative branch since 2001. In 2001, we thought we were going to get this done. On September 7th, we had a bipartisan Judiciary Committee hearing in the Senate, and we had the head of the AFL and the head of the Chamber of Commerce. We had Grover Norquist representing conservatives. We had Raul Izaguirre representing the progressive wing of the immigrant advocacy movement, Democrat and Republican senators coming together saying we're going to get this done, and we thought we were going to do it. 9/11 happened, everything got shelved for years, and it took us a long time to be able to start writing another comprehensive immigration reform bill. That effort really got started in 2005, 2006 with the McCain-Kennedy bill, and a comprehensive, different comprehensive bills getting introduced, going through the committee process, going through the Senate floor. We were able to get the Senate to pass a bill in 2006, but the House would not act. They had passed an enforcement-only bill, and they wouldn't conference with us. What does that remind you of? It's sort of the situation we are in today, where the Senate has passed a comprehensive bipartisan bill, and the House hasn't yet acted, so we can't get to conference. So that ended 2007. We tried again, and then again, the Senate was not able to come to an agreement and pass a bill. So everything died and was put on the shelf again until 2009. When President Obama was elected, he ran on a platform of wanting to do immigration reform, and he really wanted to get it done. He tasked us, and by then I was at the Department of Homeland Security, with writing a bill. And we wrote a bill, a bipartisan, well, what we hoped would be a bipartisan bill that we gave to Senator Schumer and Senator Graham to see if they could get it moving. And unfortunately, there was just no political will in the Senate to get it done. And again, it got shelved until 2012 elections. And by then, people said, this is the time to get it done. During all of this time, though, we had learned from the mistakes we had made, and the immigrant advocacy community had strengthened. The support for immigration reform had broadened considerably. The number of stakeholders, critical stakeholders involved in this effort is quite different from where we were in 2006, 2007. We have religious leaders of all denominations involved in comprehensive immigration reform. Jewish community has been there from the beginning, but we have now seen evangelical Christians stepping up and supporting, a lot of other religious groups stepping up and supporting comprehensive immigration reform. We've seen the business sector more involved than they've ever been before. In 2006, Senator Lindsey Graham called business a silent lobbyist in this effort. Today, they are at the table, very involved. Labor is united. Labor has not always been united on immigration reform, and for the first time they are united. And we have law enforcement and state and local elected officials supporting comprehensive immigration reform. It's tough, as you can see from the news. It's been declared dead many times over. Political especially likes to declare it dead. But there's a lot of time still left in the Congress. Not this year, obviously. There I would agree with political. Nothing's going to happen this year, but there's still a lot of time left in the Congress to get this done. And the House is working on different bills. They have their own approach. They don't want to do anything comprehensive. Anything that the Senate does, the House won't do. And this isn't even a thing of Republicans versus Democrats. It's more House versus Senate dynamics. So if the Senate passes something, the House has to find their own way to do it. And that's what they're doing right now. And Speaker Boehner has said, I'm going to approach this in a piecemeal fashion. We're waiting to see exactly what that means. And they have certain bills as part of the four-legged stool that they have gotten through committee, and they're still working on other pieces. For us, the most important piece is the legalization bill. So you have a number of Republicans working on legalization bill. So we're waiting to see what shape those take and how they move forward. Mark, what I would urge you to do is continue, if you care about this issue, continue to educate your members of Congress about the importance of doing it from an economic standpoint, from a moral standpoint, from a law enforcement standpoint, how important it is. I think I'll stop at that